So yesterday it was 100 degrees, 106 degree heat index. Today, it rained this morning. It's in the 70s. Nice cool breeze coming from the north. And I think it's supposed to stay cooler for the next several days. Been really strange weather this year. Got to be careful when you're leaning up against the wood pile that you check for snakes. I mean, all spring I told you it was just massive amount of rain and it was cold and it was just a long, warmer winter is what it felt like. And then the summer months, or you know, summer temperatures here, it popped up pretty hot for a week and then it cooled back down and it's hot. That's just really unusual for Missouri. Usually once Missouri turns hot, it stays hot until it turns fall time. So I'm glad for the cooler temperatures. Makes life a little bit easier without the air conditioner. I mean, we don't need it, but we get by without it. So I've got some bad news. I've been saying all along that I think folks need to start thinking about getting something that they can eat and raise, like chickens or rabbits, because the prices at the grocery store are just going up dramatically. And there's threats that we're gonna have food shortages and meat prices are up and chicken shortages and egg shortages and just, well, obviously you know what's going on. It's not a secret. Even the president said that he expects high food prices and high gas prices. He expects food shortages. I don't know what else to tell anybody other than you're gonna have to start doing something to get through it. To expect that it's just gonna go away, I think it's unreasonable. I mean, I remember the 70s. I was really young, of course, but I remember it. And I remember my grandparents canning food like we were in the Depression. I think the bigger problem is we're getting ready to head into a recession also. So high prices and nobody's gonna have good paying jobs. It's just gonna get worse. I know now that the gasoline prices have got us staying home pretty much all the time. We don't go anywhere. We don't go out for a little night drive or anything. We just stay here. We've switched over to propane on our generator. We have this dual fuel and propane for us is just so much cheaper than running the gasoline. Now, we don't run the propane very much. I did this morning. It doesn't appear I needed to, but I did this morning. I ran it for 4 hours because it was cloudy and I wanted to get through the cloudy. Kind of the risk you take on solar panels on cloudy days. If I didn't run the generator, it'd have been cloudy all day. We wouldn't have been able to get enough electric. So I charged the batteries. It's not a huge loss, but like I said, propane's a lot cheaper right now for us than gasoline. So I'm really glad we bought that propane generator when we did. I've told you in the past that I was not a big fan of getting it because there's so many problems that you can have with it. They're hard to start in the winter and just a lot of different problems you can have with them. But I'm glad I got it. Right, I mean, it just seems like we always luck out when it comes to this off-grid thing. I have to be the most unlucky person in the world, but when it comes to off-grid, we're just lucky. We bought the property. It was an amazing find. Lucky. Had a well. Lucky. Had a trailer frame. That was the big luck because having the trailer frame, we had something to build on. I didn't have to buy one. Like I said, I've been telling everybody to get chickens. But you're also going to have to start thinking about how you're going to feed the chickens. That is a serious problem. So I've told you that Carolyn does all kinds of fancy stuff with the chicken feed. She does this mesh where she ferments the food and the chickens actually process fermented food easier and better and get more vitamins and nutrition out of the fermented food. But during the hot summer months, you don't want to do that because it can add body fat and it's got alcohol in it and it could be a problem. Another thing she's doing is she's growing sunflower seeds. I've showed you this before. It's not that hard. And you can look this up, but she puts sunflower seeds in there and when it starts, it's right down here at the bottom and then it grows up and fills this bottle. And she does a lot of that. That really saves a lot of money. She turns about a 50-pound bag of sunflower seeds into about 250 pounds of food. And really the only time I give this to them is at night, right before we go to bed. With the chicks, the little chicks, I'm trying to train them to go to bed when I come down. The adults, they go to bed on their own. I don't have to worry about them. All I got to do is close the door when I go down there. But the chicks are out playing and having a good time. And I'm afraid they'll get stuck out in the dark and they won't be able to see their way back. So I give them this That gives them some protein to grow. That's got like 23% protein in it. Of course, you could give them a chicken egg. I noticed that we broke a chicken egg the other day. It was broken. They laid on it, it broke, and they didn't eat it. So that was a big deal. That tells me they don't need any protein. They're getting plenty. I'm going to work on that. We bought little indoor-outdoor carpeting, and I'm going to make it so the eggs roll away and they won't even have a chance to break the eggs. But things are getting tough, so we're really trying to figure out how to feed the chickens. And so we got the calcium, we got the protein taken care of. Sunflower seeds are very expensive, so that's why you got to do it this way. This really cuts down on the cost of chicken food if you can grow it. Again, you're making 50 pounds into 250 pounds. Well, last time we went to Orchlands to get chicken food, they had a ton of chicken food, but Carolyn had been seeing on Facebook groups that people are running out of chicken food. They just can't find it. Well, today we went to the Orchlands to get some food, and it was slim pickings. So the first thing we did was we got some barrels, and what we're going to do is we're going to put the chicken food in the barrels, and we got the metal barrels with the straps on them here. That way mice and humidity can't get into the food. We had one bag that had mice in it, which isn't a big deal. I mean, the mice I don't care about, but the other bag somehow got mold in it. I guess the humidity, it sucked up the mold. So we're going to put that in there. We bought 2 barrels. We'll put all the food in one barrel, and then we'll use the other barrel just to use for the open bags. We don't necessarily have to strap that. This has a seal on it. This guy refurbishes these. So he puts these nice gaskets on it, and these gaskets kind of stick down pretty solid, so you don't have to ratchet it down. And the bag that's open isn't going to collect moisture and mold that fast. But that one bag that we had yesterday was probably in there maybe 2 months, and it molded. So a lot of people say I should buy a lot of chicken food and store it, find a place to store it. But that's the problem with storing it, is it collects rodents and it can go bad. So you got to find ways to keep that from happening. So we finally broke down and bought barrels. These barrels aren't bad. This guy, like I said, he refurbishes them, makes them food grade. He says they're food grade. He puts a silicone in it, food grade silicone, and they're $20 a piece. But then we went in there and they didn't have any 16% all flock food. So we buy all flock because it's 16%. I'm sorry, it's 18% all flock. And they didn't have any. The reason we get all flock is because it's not medicated. They had 18% medicated chick starter, but it was medicated, and they didn't have a lot. It wasn't like it was a big pallet full. They probably had 2 layers on the pallet. That was it. We were pretty much in trouble. They had organic food there, chicken food, all flock, actually. And it was the right percentage, 18%. The problem with it was really expensive. It was $20 for one bag, whereas the regular all flock is like 12 bucks. So it was quite a bit more expensive. I thought, well, I guess we're gonna have to drive to the other town, which would have been, it would have racked up the gas mileage is what it would have done. We would have been so far into it with gas. Carolyn put on her thinking cap and tried to figure out how to solve the problem. And this is what you're going to have to start doing, is you're going to have to start solving problems, because you're just not going to be able to find what you need. We have already resigned the fact that we are going to have to feed our chickens the grass and the weeds around here. We're just going to start knocking it down and feeding it to them, along with the protein from the sunflower seeds and calcium. So while we were there, she said, well, here's what we'll do. Now they had some regular egg layer, but we already got 3 or 4 bags of egg layer, so we really didn't need any more egg layer. We got 1 bag of egg layer right here. That's 16% layer crumbles. But everything else, if we just started with the 22%, that would have been fine if we were just raising meat birds. But I think 7 of our chickens are Brahmas, and we can't really separate them. That's a whole different story, but we got to raise the meat birds with the egg layers. So we don't want to over protein the Brahmas, because they could get too big, start having heart attacks after about 12 weeks. So we've been trying to feed the chicks 18%. That's in between what they really need. 16% for Brahmas and 22% for the meat birds. So 18% was a nice happy medium. And Carolyn came up with this idea. She got livestock feed, 12%. So this is just, you can feed your horses and cows and whatever. It's just all flock, or all stock is what it's called, I think, wherever it says all stock somewhere right here. 12% livestock feed, yeah. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put half of this and half of this in there. That'll make it right around 18% with the mix. There is a problem. I really fear that the next time we go back to Orchlands, they won't have any food. I would like to say we could just drive to the next town over, but with gas prices being so high, it's impossible. Now, there is a guy, a farmer, I think he is, and he's selling chicken food, but he's so far away that we really would have to have maybe one of these barrels, take one of those barrels up there and have him fill it. So these barrels are dual purpose. If we run out and that's what our only option is, we'll just take these 2 barrels, he can fill it. But it is so far away, it's gonna cost us $50, $60, $100, something like that in gasoline. I mean, so how is that even cost effective? I told Carolyn today, at some point the prices are gonna get so high, I'm just gonna say, no, we're not gonna do it. We're going to have to figure out how we're gonna feed the chickens without buying food. So that will make us completely self-sustaining. I've been talking about that for a long time, that we gotta be self-sustaining. We gotta stop depending on people to take care of us. That's the whole point of us living off-grid, is we didn't want people taking care of us. The electric company, the water company, the food, grocery stores, all that. Well, we're just at the next part of our self-reliance program. So if you can click that super thanks button down there, I'd really appreciate it. So if I can inspire you to really start thinking what's going on so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.